My word, what a fucking episode, eh? It's times like this where I truly wish The Walking Dead was continuing beyond season 11, but credit where credit's due, due to its inevitable conclusion just up on the horizon, it's likely why these final hours are some of the most intense and engaging pieces of content coming out of The Walking Dead in recent memory.
Cool. Cool.
I wanted to let you all know real quick that I will not be breaking down this episode of The Walking Dead in the same manner as I have been in the previous videos, for the simple fact that I found out very recently that a lot of individuals are not actually sticking around for the breakdown portion of the episode, which would imply to me at least that the majority of audiences that watch these videos actually come for the thoughts. They don't necessarily come for a full beat by beat breakdown. So I'm scrubbing that out of the way I do things for the moment and see how it generally does in terms of viewership. So I'm just going to be jumping straight into my thoughts for the episode of The Walking Dead, whilst kind of interlacing, somewhat of a breakdown for the episode itself. If you follow along for the video, you'll get an example of what I mean. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that The Walking Dead has had the smoothest of rides when it comes to the run of the series. After almost risking cancellation around season 8 due to falling ratings, poor viewership, and character direction that made about as much sense as this. Since then, it's rarely hit a bump in the road in terms of how I feel about the show, and with how good the writing has been, the bumps have been noticeable when they're there, but that's a testament to the writers that seemingly care for the direction of the series and its conclusion at this point. From Rick's death, to the Whisperers' rise and fall, to Negan joining their ranks and killing their leader, to Michonne's departure, Negan's backstory, the Commonwealth's inception and imposition, and now the final moments of the series that seemingly bring together a disjointed cast of characters to fight one last fight. What a glorious sight this has all been, and it feels right to bring these characters back together. Don't keep them disconnected. The Commonwealth have made themselves the line in the sand, and the survivors have had enough and are about to scrub them out. Now, I'm not going to pretend for one second that if this storyline was played out maybe 2-3 seasons ago in The Walking Dead, this would have absolutely been dragged out for almost half a season, possibly a full season like the All Out War, with constant back and forth of trying to establish an uprising and getting everyone together, and there would have inevitably been more inner turmoil between Zeke and Negan. But I love that it's now, and that we've got a far more condensed version of what the story likely would have become had we had it sooner. It's almost a disservice, however, to the rest of the series with how good these final episodes have been, and I will confess that my favourite seasons are actually 1, 2, 4, first half of 7, 9 and 10, but 11 has been on another level entirely. The vitriolic nature that the Commonwealth has displayed through Pamela's leadership, coupled with the ludicrous tendencies of Hornsby and the maniacal narcissism that was Sebastian, has made for quite the storm when it comes to truly needing to remind our heroes who they are and where they need to be. They've been divided since the Whisperer War, and even the promise of the old ways in a new world wasn't enough to truly motivate them to come together once again. This battle has made our band of misfits become a family once more, and I'm here for it.
I don't have friends, I got family.
Let's get into why you clicked onto this video though, and that's to hear my full thoughts on this week's episode of The Walking Dead titled Faith. Something I truly possess now going forward as we exit the series with 2 episodes left.
Oh yeah. Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
Comedy.
The first thing that needs to be discussed is the stressed relationship and temporary alliance between Negan and Ezekiel. Carrie Payton feels like he has found new life in the role of Ezekiel recently, and with only a few episodes left, I feel like we're getting the best parts of this character and actor together. He's truly come into the role of an inspiration rather than a leader going forward, and the interactions with Jeffrey Dean have made for some of the best scenes in these past 2 episodes for me. Jeffrey Dean is an actor that I would watch seasons of on his own in the role of Negan, and looking back at some of the original choices for the role that they had, they absolutely made the right decision to cast him. The complexity, the power, the flexibility, that's what he brings to the role, and it's rare to find that. I tend to watch things as they are and critique what it is and look at every part of what we see, but on the rare occasion someone like Jeffrey Dean comes along and just pulls me in with a hyper-focus on that one character, and at times how decent enough that actor is, and either makes me love them or frickin' hate them. Negan certainly has a checkered past in the show, and one of the most conflicting relationships with audiences around the world, as you're supposed to hate him, but the charm and swagger that Jeffrey Dean brings to the role is otherworldly and infectious.
Back to it.
Well, pardon me, young man, and excuse the shit out of my goddamn French, but did you just threaten me?
Their conflict over Negan's position in the world once the Commonwealth is dealt with adds a great deal of depth to Zeke's position that is later flipped on its head by the end when he steps in to save Annie and Negan with a unified group ready to stand against the Commonwealth. The moment when Zeke realises what Negan tries to do with sacrificing himself to get everybody else into a frenzy against the Commonwealth was almost met with a sigh of relief, and seeing her brought into the fold after the Warden declares that Negan will not be used as a martyr, his expression shifts as he realises that Negan is serious about this. This isn't a passing moment for him, and he truly wants to become a better man and a father. Annie is clearly the motivator here for Ezekiel, but it was awesome to see him do this and still defend Negan even for Annie, who was only there because of Negan. This, in my opinion, was incredible stuff. The growing unrest in the Commonwealth is undoubtedly set to become its undoing. Pamela went into business for herself in this one, trying to condemn Eugene for the murder of Sebastian, where she has no right to be coming after him in such a way, given the actions that she's allowed to be committed under her rule.
What a bitch.
This was a move for me that made me feel a visceral hatred for her, and I don't often say this with characters, but I cannot wait to see her die. The judge has visible bias here, and it was never going to work out for Eugene via legal proceedings despite Yumiko's best efforts. So to see Mercer stand with him in the final seconds with a group of Commonwealth guards was a change in direction we needed really episodes ago, but still a good movement nonetheless.
Good move. Very good move.
The inclusion of variant walkers was great to see again, even brief in this one, as it adds a lot more uncertainty going forward into the spin-off shows, as we don't know who else has encountered these variants, or where else they are. Are there more in one area of the world? Are they country specific? Is there an evolutionary move with the dead? Are they capable of more than we've seen here? There are so many questions coming out the back of the series that I think audiences weren't prepared for. The Warden was a pretty decent villain, and far more believable than the Reapers in this case, as we had a clearer understanding of his motivations in this, and it was quite simply power. The hatred you grew to have for him, with the command of his men, which led to dissent there, and then the treatment of the survivors, made Rosita plunging the walker into his face such a cathartic execution, and makes me wonder what they'll do to Pamela given the uncomfortable and cold ways that we've said goodbye to Sebastian, Hornsby, and now the Warden. Those were my thoughts and general breakdown for this week's episode, however, of The Walking Dead. I loved this installment. The dynamics in the respective groups, the turmoil in Ezekiel having to save his enemy, the light hint of the Walkers' capabilities now, the descent of the Commonwealth, and the rise of our heroes once more, made for an exhilarating edition of The Walking Dead. I would absolutely recommend that you go out of your way to watch this. This show just keeps getting better and better as we draw to a close, and whilst I'm sad to see it go, I'm loving watching it leave. This is the level in which the show should have been running at throughout the entirety of its run, and I'm left feeling now, and wondering at least, is the finale going to get a deserved payoff that maintains the level of anticipation and intensity that has been delivered to us in these final moments, and sends our heroes and audiences off alike fulfilled? That's going to do it for me though. Thank you for stopping by. I know this is going to be a shorter review, but if you enjoyed it, please leave a like down below, drop a comment letting me know what you thought of this episode of The Walking Dead, and subscribe to the channel, as I will be reviewing the remainder of the series and so much more on the way. Until then though everyone, stay safe and take care.